The message was simple, yet it shook the galaxy. We respectfully withdraw from galactic affairs. Do not seek us. These words appeared simultaneously across every diplomatic channel, emergency frequency, and public broadcast system in known space. The signature, United Earth Government, final communication. Commander Ethan Wright stood in the gleaming central hall of the Galactic Council headquarters on Syntraxis Prime. Around him, representatives of 87 spacefaring civilizations erupted in chaos. Some shouted questions. Others made demands. A few sat in stunned silence. Wright ignored them all. He had his orders. The last human military liaison in galactic space, Wright checked the timer on his wrist device. 30 minutes until the final transport left. 30 minutes until no humans remained in official capacity anywhere beyond Sol. Commander Wright, the voice cut through the noise. Vexthor, the Salaxian representative, pushed through the crowd. His scaled skin flashed warning colors of orange and red. You cannot simply leave. The trade agreements, the defense pacts. What of our alliance? Wright met the alien's four eyes with a calm gaze. All agreements have been formally terminated as of this broadcast. All debts settled. All obligations fulfilled. Around the hall, translation devices relayed his words in dozens of languages. The commotion grew louder. But why? Asked Vexthor, genuine confusion replacing anger. Have we offended Earth in some way? Wright checked his timer again. 28 minutes. No offense was taken, he said simply. This decision was unanimous among Earth's nations. We need time to focus inward. On what? Pressed the Salaxian. Wright offered only a polite nod before turning away. The crowd parted before him, not out of respect, but from the four-armed security drones that now hovered at his shoulders. As he walked toward the exit, Wright heard the whispers. Rumors of secret human wars, theories about plagues or religious awakenings, speculation about some cosmic threat that humans had discovered. None were correct, but Wright couldn't tell them the truth. 20 minutes later, he boarded the last transport ship at the Syntraxis spaceport. Through the viewport, he watched dock workers of a dozen species staring as the ship's engines fired up. Some waved, most just looked confused. The captain's voice came over the intercom. Commander, we're the last ones out. All human diplomatic, military, and civilian personnel have been extracted from galactic space. We've received confirmation that the barrier system is now active around Sol. Wright closed his eyes briefly. Take us home, Captain. As the ship broke orbit, Wright thought about what was happening across the galaxy at that very moment. The network of automated buoys activating around Earth's solar system, broadcasting simple warnings in all minimum languages. Human territory. No entry permitted. The mysterious energy field now enveloping the entire system, proving impenetrable to all scanning technology. The hundreds of human outposts, research stations, and colonies now sitting empty, evacuated in what must have seemed like panic to outside observers. But it wasn't panic. It was planning. 2 years of careful, secret preparation for this day. Back in the council chambers, aliens who had worked with humans for decades watched the feeds in shock. The energy barrier around Sol appeared impenetrable. Every attempt to communicate with Earth met with automatic rejection notices. Humanity, the unpredictable force that had transformed galactic politics, economics, and warfare in just a few short centuries, had simply walked away. Some species reacted with relief. Humans had always been troublesome, quick to anger, quick to forgive, impossible to predict. Others felt fear creeping in. What could make such a proud and curious species seal themselves away? Most concerning were the timing protocols embedded in Earth's final message. This wasn't a permanent goodbye. The message included a simple timestamp indicating when the barrier would come down. 20 years. Why 20 years? What would happen then? What were humans preparing for? As Commander Wright's ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, he knew that across the galaxy, thousands of alien species were asking these questions. and he knew that the silence where humanity once stood would soon become the most frightening sound in the universe. Nancy Bell never planned to become famous. 5 years ago, when humanity sealed itself behind the energy barrier around Sol, she was just one of a few thousand humans who chose to stay outside. Now she was the voice of absent Earth, as the galactic news networks called her. "No, I don't know why they left," Nancy told the crowd of reporters gathered outside her small home on Proxima Centauri IV. "And yes, I made my choice freely." The aliens pressed closer with their recording devices. A tall Mendari journalist pushed to the front. "But surely you have theories," he asked. "You were an anthropologist who studied alien cultures for Earth's government." Nancy sighed. "This same question, every week for 5 years." "They needed time to focus," she said simply. "Now please, I have work to do." She closed the door on their disappointed faces. Through the window, she watched her alien husband Krelzen, showing their adopted children how to plant seeds in the garden. A human girl and 2 Centauri boys, all orphans from the border conflicts that had erupted since Earth's withdrawal. Nancy touched the communication device on her wrist. Still no message from home. Not that she expected one. The barrier around Sol blocked everything. Across the galaxy, the absence of humans was creating bigger problems than curious reporters. In the Galactic Council chambers, representatives shouted over each other. Without human diplomats to mediate, old enemies were at each other's throats again. The Dralid Empire has seized 3 more systems this month alone. The Petra representative pounded his tentacle on the table. Systems previously under human protection. The Dralid ambassador flared his neck frills. Those territories were never formally claimed. We are simply establishing order in abandoned space. From the back of the chamber, Admiral Keith Daniels watched with narrowed eyes. Once the fiercest critic of human military tactics, he now led a coalition of alien forces trying to fill the power vacuum. "They're making the same mistakes I warned humans about for 20 years, he muttered to his aide. Divided response. No clear chain of command. The Admiral's comm unit buzzed. "Sir, another refugee ship from the outer territories just arrived. 10,000 civilians fleeing Dralid expansion." Daniels nodded. "Find them space in Sector 7, and double the patrols along the Rigel corridor." He looked around the chaotic council chamber. The truth was bitter. Without humans, the galactic peace was falling apart. Strange how he'd spent his career fighting human stubbornness, only to miss it now. In the financial district of Syntraxis Prime, the situation was equally grim. Merchant Guild Master Paul Reeves stared at the projection showing market values. Another record low. 5 years, he said to the empty office. 5 years, and we still haven't adapted to life without human trade networks. Certain sectors dependent on human innovation had collapsed entirely. The medicine market, advanced weapons, entertainment exports. The ripple effects touched everything. Paul had married a human woman who returned to Earth before the barrier went up. He still remembered her last message. "Don't worry about me. Worry about what comes after us." At the time, he thought she meant the economic impact. Now he wondered if she meant something else entirely. At the edge of explored space, on a small monitoring station, Dr. Olivia Grant aimed her sensors into the darkness between stars. One of the few human scientists who remained outside Sol, she had noticed something concerning. "Computer, run the pattern analysis again," she said. The holographic display showed dots of light representing communication networks across the galaxy. Then, one by one, certain dots began winking out. "Time frame?" she asked. "Pattern began approximately 6 months ago," the computer replied. "Rate of communication failures increasing by 12% each month." Olivia frowned. The pattern matched theoretical models she had developed with Earth scientists before the withdrawal, a theory that most had dismissed as impossible. She composed a message to the Galactic Council. They would probably ignore her warning, just as they had ignored her previous reports. But she had to try. Because if her theory was correct, humanity hadn't abandoned the galaxy. They had retreated to prepare for something worse. Something that was already here, moving silently between the stars, swallowing communications networks one by one. Something that humans had somehow detected long before anyone else. 10 years had passed since humans walked away. Now something else was disappearing. Communication itself. Alan Peterson checked his equipment one more time before boarding the scout ship. As a council investigator, he had seen strange things in his career. But nothing like this. Final checks complete, sir, said the pilot, a blue-skinned Arcturian. We're cleared for departure to the Vega sector. Alan nodded. How long has this sector been silent? 3 weeks. Before that, we received broken messages about unusual sensor readings. The small ship lifted off from Syntraxis Prime, carrying Alan and his team of 5 specialists from different species. Their mission: find out why entire star systems were going dark. In her lab at the Galactic Science Academy, Dr. Olivia Grant plotted the latest data. As one of the few humans who had chosen to remain outside Earth's barrier, she had spent years trying to warn the Council about what she had discovered. Computer, display communication outages from the past 6 months. The hologram showed a map of the galaxy. Large patches of darkness spread like ink stains across once bright sectors. The pattern is accelerating, she muttered. Her assistant, a young Felician named Kiv, looked over her shoulder. I don't understand. Communication systems don't just fail across multiple planets simultaneously. Unless something is causing them to fail, Olivia said. She pointed to the map. Look at the pattern. It's not random. It's spreading from specific points, moving inward from the outer rim. Like an invasion, Kiv asked, ears flattening against his head. Olivia didn't answer. She was thinking about her last conversation with Earth scientists before the withdrawal. Their theoretical models had predicted this exact pattern. On the jungle world of Arthid Prime, chaos erupted. The insectoid Arthid Collective, spanning 12 star systems, had lived in perfect harmony for 10,000 years. Their telepathic hive mind connected trillions of individuals. Today, that mind was breaking. Queen Mother Zith felt it first. Gaps in the collective consciousness, as though entire colonies were simply vanishing from the network. Send ships to the outer colonies, she commanded her generals. Find out what is happening. Hours later, as the darkness spread through their network, the Queen Mother made her final decision. She opened a channel to the Galactic Council. They were right, her message began. The void speaks. Humans knew. The transmission cut off. Across 12 star systems, the Arthid Collective went silent all at once. Alan Peterson's scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Vega II, once a busy trading hub. Now the system showed no signs of artificial power or technology in use. Life signs? Alan asked. The sensor operator shook his head. Billions of life readings, but no technology signatures. It's as if they've all stopped using machines. Take us closer, Alan ordered. As they approached the planet, their communications officer turned from her console with a confused look. Sir, I'm picking up a signal. Very weak. Put it through, Alan said. A scratchy voice filled the bridge. Don't come any closer. Something moving between. Watching us. Darkness between. Can you clean it up? Alan asked. Working on it, but the source keeps changing. It's like it's coming from multiple places at once. Alan peered at the main view screen showing Vega II. The planet looked normal from orbit. Landing party preparations, he decided. We need to see what's happening on the surface. 4 hours later, Alan and 3 team members stepped onto the surface of Vega II. The capital city stretched before them, buildings intact, streets empty. Where is everyone? Whispered the team's xenobiologist. Alan checked his scanner. Life readings all around us, but nothing visible. He tapped his communicator. Peterson to ship. Anything unusual in your scans? No response. Peterson to ship. Do you read me? Still nothing. The security officer drew her weapon. "Sir, look at the buildings." Alan saw it then. Shadows moving where no shadows should be. Not on surfaces, but between them. In the spaces that eyes normally skipped over. "There's something moving between the stars," he said, suddenly understanding. "Something that's been here all along." He tried his communicator one last time, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Council Investigator Alan Peterson. We've found what's causing the silence. It's not attacking. It's revealing itself, something that exists in the spaces we don't see." As darkness gathered around his team, his final words transmitted to any receiver still functioning. The humans knew. They weren't running away. They were running to prepare. His message reached a few scattered outposts before they too went silent. The darkness continued to spread. 15 years after humanity withdrew, 1/3 of the galaxy had gone silent. The remaining civilizations broke into two groups. Those who believed humans had run from a threat they couldn't beat, and those who thought humans themselves were behind the spreading darkness. Captain Sharon Miller didn't care about either theory. She just wanted to save as many people as possible. "Approaching the edge of the silent zone," her navigator said. "Sensors showing no active technology within the boundary." Sharon nodded from the captain's chair of her freighter, the Star Chaser. "Take us in, half power. Keep communications silent." Her small crew, just 6 people from 4 different species, had made this run 12 times now. Each time they entered a newly silenced system to rescue survivors before the darkness fully settled. They had learned the hard way that using communications equipment seemed to speed up whatever was happening. 6 hours later, the Star Chaser's cargo hold was filled again. 300 refugees from the mining colony on Darius IV, all telling the same story. Sharon listened as a young mother described what happened. "It started with the shadows," the woman said, holding her child close, "moving when nothing was there to cast them. Then communications began failing. Not all at once, just missing pieces of conversations. And then," Sharon asked gently, "then we started seeing things in the corners of our vision. When we looked directly, nothing was there. But we could feel something watching us. It matched what all the others had described. Shadows moving against the backdrop of space, communications failing, the feeling of being watched. And no one who stayed behind was ever heard from again." On the Galactic Council Station, emergency meetings ran day and night. The silent zones were spreading faster now, swallowing star systems weekly instead of monthly. Admiral Keith Daniels slammed his fist on the table. "We need to take direct action. Form a united fleet and establish a containment line, and abandon everyone beyond that line," asked the Regellian representative. "If we don't, there may be no one left anywhere," Keith answered. In another part of the station, the Talari Republic's leader announced their desperate plan. "We were humanity's closest allies," she told the reporters. "If anyone can reach them, we can. Our fleet will attempt to breach Earth's barrier and ask for their help." Dr. Olivia Grant tried to stop them. "You don't understand what will happen," she warned. "The barrier isn't just keeping us out. It's protecting them while they prepare." No one listened. The next day, the entire Talari fleet approached the Sol system barrier. Billions watched the live broadcast. The ships never even had time to send a message. The barrier flashed once, and where 50 ships had been, only atoms remained. No warning, no communication, just efficient, total destruction. The galaxy fell into deeper panic. That night, something unprecedented happened. A message in ancient human Sanskrit appeared simultaneously on every communication terminal in inhabited space. Most couldn't read it, but translation computers quickly decoded its meaning. "We tried to warn you. Prepare yourselves. They have always been here." In her office, Dr. Olivia Grant finally understood. The Sanskrit was significant, one of humanity's oldest languages. This wasn't about modern human politics or wars. This was about something ancient, something humans had encountered before, perhaps thousands of years ago. She accessed the oldest synorchaeology files, searching for cave paintings and ancient carvings from early human history. There she found it, the same patterns now appearing in the silent zones, drawn by human hands 10,000 years ago. Olivia tried sending this information to the council, but her transmission was cut short. Outside her window, she saw them, shadows moving where no shadows should be. The void between stars had finally reached Centraxis Prime. In 5 years exactly, according to Earth's final message, the barrier around Sol would come down. But Olivia wondered if there would be anyone left to witness humanity's return, unless that was the plan all along. A test to see who would survive. 20 years to the day after humanity's withdrawal, the barrier around Earth's solar system vanished. The remaining galactic civilizations watched with fear and hope. Nearly half the galaxy had gone silent now. Those still fighting had formed a desperate last alliance, holding a defensive line that shrank every week. Admiral Keith Daniels stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship. His hair had turned white during these years of endless retreat. Contact. Multiple vessels emerging from Sol system, his sensor officer shouted. How many? Keith asked. The officer's voice shook. Thousands. No, tens of thousands. The main screen showed the impossible sight. A massive fleet of ships unlike any design previously seen emerged from where Earth's barrier had stood. They bore human markings but were built with technology far beyond anything the galaxy had known before. They're transmitting on all frequencies, the communications officer said. Put it through, Keith ordered. A woman's face appeared on screen. She wore a simple black uniform with a new emblem, a shield protecting a multitude of alien symbols. This is Fleet Admiral Patricia Coleman of the United Earth Defense Force. To all remaining civilizations, we have returned to fulfill our promise. Hold your positions. Help is coming. Ships streamed from Sol system in all directions, heading straight for the silent zones. Each vessel bristled with weapons and equipment that defied normal space physics. At the emergency session of the Galactic Council, Admiral Coleman addressed the stunned representatives. We withdrew to prepare, she explained calmly. The ancient enemy that hunted our ancestors across the stars has awakened. We refuse to leave you defenseless, despite your disbelief. The Galaxian representative, Vex Thor, stood up. You knew about this threat for 20 years and did nothing while billions died. Coleman's face showed real sadness. We've known about the void entities for thousands of years. We detected their stirring a century ago, but none of you would believe us without proof. She displayed holographic images of ancient human cave paintings alongside modern sensor readings. The similarities were undeniable. We needed these 20 years to build enough containment systems for the entire galaxy. Had we stayed to fight directly, we would have run out of resources before reaching even a tenth of affected systems. On the edge of Centraxis space, Gregory Powell directed the deployment of human technology. As lead engineer of Earth's defense forces, he had spent 20 years designing these devices. Place the field generators in exactly these positions, he instructed the alien workers. The void entities cannot be defeated, only contained. Each generator creates a dimensional anchor that prevents them from fully entering our reality. An alien scientist examined the small device, no larger than her hand. This tiny thing can stop what consumed entire star systems. Yes, Gregory said, but it needs to be part of a network. One alone does nothing. 10,000 working together can seal a sector. He pointed to the massive human ships unloading similar devices by the millions. We've been manufacturing these nonstop for 20 years. In what remained of the Galactic Science Academy, Dr. Olivia Grant met with Earth scientists who remembered her warnings. You were right all along, said the Academy director. But why couldn't humanity tell us clearly what was happening? Would you have believed us? Olivia asked. When we said creatures existed in the spaces between conventional matter, beings that respond to observation by hiding deeper in dimensional folds. She showed them her original research from 20 years ago. We tried for decades to warn the council. Eventually, we realized only a demonstration would convince you. So you left us to face them alone. No, Olivia said firmly. We left to build enough shields for everyone. Had we stayed, resources would have been diverted to endless debates and emergency responses. We needed focused, uninterrupted preparation. Across the galaxy, human vessels deployed to the edges of silent zones. The new ships could enter these regions without losing power or communications. For the first time in years, planets that had gone dark were reconnected to the galaxy. Many were empty, their populations gone. But some had survivors, hiding, scared, but alive. And as human technology formed an expanding network across space, the shadows that moved where nothing should move began to retreat. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was packed beyond capacity. Representatives from every surviving civilization stood shoulder to tentacle to wing, waiting to hear the full story. Helen Ward, Earth's chief archivist, stood at the center. Behind her, a massive holographic display showed images that made many in the audience gasp. Earth was not humanity's first home, she began simply. It was our last refuge after fleeing across the stars. The images showed ancient star maps, human settlements on worlds the Council had never heard of, ruins that predated known history. For over 50,000 years, our species has been running from the void entities. We have lost 12 homeworlds to them. Earth is merely the most recent place we settled. The Drowlid ambassador hissed in disbelief. Impossible. Your species shows no signs of such advanced technology in your past. Helen nodded. Because each time the entities find us, we lose everything. We are forced to start again from the beginning. Stone tools, fire, the wheel. She displayed ancient human cave paintings next to modern scans of the silent zones. The patterns were identical. Our ancestors could not fight the entities with technology, so they found another way to warn future generations. They built the memory of our enemy into our deepest myths, our oldest religions, our primal fears of darkness. On the reclaimed world of Vega II, Dr. Olivia Grant worked alongside human specialists to restore the planet. The dimensional anchor network had pushed back the void entities, but their touch remained. The survivors keep talking about the shadows, said her assistant Kiv. Even though the entities are gone, people still feel watched. Olivia studied her readings. The entities leave a psychological imprint. It will fade with time. A human technician approached them, carrying a small device. Doctor, we found this recording in the central communications hub. It's from the day the system went dark. The recording showed the final moments before Vega II fell silent. People screaming about shadows moving on their own. Then a calm voice cutting through the chaos. They feed on attention. If you acknowledge them, they become more real in our dimension. Look away. Think of something else. Olivia froze the playback. That's Alan Peterson, the council investigator who disappeared. He figured it out. Back on Centraxis Prime, Council Elder Larry Winters revealed his true identity to the assembled representatives. His age-lined face appeared on screens throughout the chamber. I am 327 years old, he announced, one of the few humans with continuous memory across multiple entity cycles. He showed his credentials as a former Earth scientist, kept secret during his years on the Council. We tried to warn you for decades. Our scientists presented evidence. Our diplomats requested joint preparation efforts. Our military begged for cooperative defense networks. The council chamber grew quiet as the truth sank in. You mistook our urgency for aggression, our preparation for paranoia. We finally realized we couldn't convince you without proof, but by then, it was almost too late. In Earth orbit, Gregory Powell guided alien scientists through the massive shipyards that had been hidden behind the barrier for 20 years. We converted 80% of our solar system's industrial capacity to building these vessels and containment systems, he explained. Every human on Earth contributed to the effort. An alien engineer examined the dimensional anchor technology. This must have required enormous resources. It did, Gregory agreed. We dismantled entire planets in our system for raw materials. Venus no longer exists. Mercury is half its former size. The alien looked shocked. Your people sacrificed that much. We had to, Gregory said simply. This is the first time in human history we've had a chance to break the cycle. In previous encounters, the entities always caught us by surprise. This time, we detected them early enough to prepare. Across the recovering galaxy, humans shared their ancient records with stunned alien researchers. The pattern became clear. Every few thousand years, the void entities would awaken and hunt across the stars. Humanity had encountered them at least 7 times before, each encounter ending with near extinction. But this time was different. This time, humans had reached the stars before the entities fully awakened. This time, they had a plan. The great chamber of the rebuilt Galactic Council fell silent as Carl Porter walked to the center platform. Once barely tolerated as a human diplomat, he now commanded respect that bordered on awe. 21 years ago, we made the hardest choice in our history, he began. We walked away when you needed us most. Many of you still blame us for that choice. Representatives from 100 species watched him, some with anger, others with understanding. But we did not abandon you, Carl continued. We stepped back to see the bigger picture. While you fought the symptoms, we developed the cure. Behind him, a hologram displayed humanity's greatest achievement, a vast network of dimensional anchors stretching across the galaxy. Each point of light represented a device that helped seal the rifts used by the void entities. The technology requires cooperation from all sentient species, Carl explained. Each civilization's unique perception of reality contributes to maintaining the interdimensional barrier. He gestured to the alien engineers and scientists who had worked alongside humans to adapt the technology for different worlds. The void entities exist because of a fundamental property of consciousness itself. They feed on observation. When a mind notices them, they gain power to enter our reality. On the edge of reclaimed space, human and alien ships stood guard together. The defensive line was holding, pushing back the silent zones day by day. Diana Ross, a young lieutenant, watched from the observation deck of the flagship Guardian. The combined fleet stretched before her, vessels of every shape and design working in perfect coordination. Impressive view, isn't it? Said Commander Frank Wilson, stepping up beside her. Diana nodded. Hard to believe 2 years ago, these species were ready to go to war with each other. Nothing unites like a common enemy, Frank said. Especially one that's been hiding in plain sight for millions of years. In the science section of The Guardian, Dr. Olivia Grant supervised the final adjustments to the ship's dimensional anchor. After 20 years of warnings that went unheeded, her theories had finally been proven right. The calibration is complete, reported her assistant Kiv. This sector will be fully sealed once we activate the network. Olivia studied the readouts. The entities are still testing for weaknesses. They know what we're doing. Will they find a way through? Kiv asked. Not if we maintain the network properly, Olivia said. That's why the alliance is so important. No single species can maintain this technology alone. In the council chambers, Carl Porter was concluding the historic agreement. This treaty establishes the Interdimensional Defense Coalition. All members share responsibility for maintaining the anchor network. All members share the knowledge needed to expand it. The Dralid ambassador, once humanity's fiercest critic, was the first to step forward and sign. We were wrong about humans, he admitted to the assembly. We thought your unpredictable nature was a weakness. Now we understand it was preparation for fighting an enemy that exploits patterns and predictions. Species that had been enemies for millennia now worked side by side. Their ancient hatreds seemed small compared to the void entities that had nearly consumed them all. Back on the Guardian, Diana Ross continued watching the fleet. Strange how quickly everything had changed. The galaxy had gone from fearing humanity's absence to embracing their return. What are you thinking, Lieutenant? Commander Wilson asked. They fear our silence, she said quietly. Now they understand it was the silence we feared all along. Wilson nodded. The void entities have been hunting sentient life since the first minds evolved, always hiding just beyond perception, striking when civilizations grow complacent. And now we've changed the rules, Wilson said. For the first time, we're not running or hiding. We're standing together. Across the galaxy, the dimensional anchor network continued growing stronger. The silent zones shrank day by day. Worlds that had gone dark were reclaimed, one by one. The void entities pressed against the barriers, testing for weaknesses but finding none. And for the first time in countless millennia, they began to retreat.